If you blinked, the Chargers might have already stepped into one of those moments that ends up shaping the whole 2026 season. There's a defensive call that looks tidy on paper, until you trace what it knocks loose behind it. There's a potential gift from the biggest rival in the division, but it's the kind that comes with strings attached. There's a contract decision that could split Bolt fam right down the middle. And there's one interior offensive line move that could cost a fortune, while finally giving Justin Herbert the kind of runway this franchise has been begging for. Would you rather pay the price right now, or live with the risk later? Stick with me, because by the end, I'm telling you which outcome bothers me the most. And if you're riding with the Chargers, hit like and subscribe, because we're not doing the lazy, surface-level version of this. This stuff has real consequences. Alright, first story, and it's one of those that feels like a win and a warning at the same time. Two of the biggest free agents on the Chargers list this offseason are the heartbeat of the pass rush, Odafe Oweh and Khalil Mack. Oweh hits the market at 27 after a breakout season in Los Angeles. Mack is heading into what would be his 13th NFL season, and he has to decide if he wants to keep playing, and if he does, where that's going to be. Including the playoffs, they combined for 16 sacks and 86 pressures last season. That's not just good production. That's the kind of heat that flips third and long, changes protections before the snap, and forces quarterbacks to speed up everything they want to do. Here's the thing. ESPN's Dan Graziano says the ideal plan inside the building is to keep both guys, along with Tuli Tuipulotu. That's the dream setup. But ideal is a dangerous word in this league, because the same note makes it clear the front office feels like it has optionality at edge. Translation? They want them back, but they're not going to let the market drag them into a full-on bidding war. That's where it gets tense. Oweh could get pricey. Daniel Popper has mentioned his market could climb to $25 million per year. And the Chargers aren't expected to use the franchise tag. So if another team comes in with the checkbook open, there's no emergency brake to pull. With Mack, it's a different kind of uncertainty. It's not really about resetting the market. It's about the person. Is retirement on the table? If he's playing in 2026, does he look at the Chargers and think, that's my best shot at a ring? Nobody can answer that for him. What gives Joe Ortiz leverage is the depth at edge this offseason, both in free agency and in the draft. That's the practical read. If negotiations get too rich, there are quality fallback options. But quality on a list isn't the same as chemistry, timing, and instant impact on Sundays. And with Chris O'Leary stepping in as the new defensive coordinator, does the team really want to start this era by potentially ripping out both anchors of the pass rush? Do they really want to bet they can maximize pressure without Mack and/or Oweh, and still avoid getting cornered in the draft, forced into using a premium pick at edge because the room got thin? Because that's the part people gloss over. If one guy leaves, the plan shifts. If both leave, the plan gets boxed in, especially when the Chargers currently only project 6 draft picks. And yeah, it's 2026, with Tuli finishing the final year of his rookie deal. If there's a year to spend, this is it. But Ortiz still has to spend responsibly, because other big checks are coming due across the roster. You can already hear the arguments coming. One side of Bolt fam is going to say, pay them, keep the window open, stop messing around. The other side is going to say, don't become a prisoner of the market, build it the right way. And honestly, the nightmare isn't losing one of them. The nightmare is losing control of the entire plan. Now, shifting gears, because something kind of strange could happen in the AFC West. We're not exactly used to getting help from Kansas City, but this time, there might be an opportunity created by a tough Chiefs decision. According to Adam Schefter, the Chiefs plan to cut offensive tackle Jawan Taylor, unless, in a twist, this kind of leak ends up sparking trade talks. And before anyone starts celebrating or losing their mind, pause for a second. Jawan Taylor is not a clean, feel-good signing. He had a rough PFF grade last season, ranking near the bottom among starting tackles. He's dealt with injuries over the last 2 years, and Kansas City is staring at a $27 million cap hit for 2026. Cutting him would save them $20 million. That isn't a throwaway detail, that's a loud signal. But from the Chargers' perspective, the question isn't, is Jawaan Taylor perfect? The real question is, do we have enough tackle depth behind Joe Alt and Rashawn Slater? And right now, that answer feels shaky. Trey Pipkins is a free agent. Trevor Penning is a free agent. And we've all seen how quickly things get ugly when tackle depth disappears. Justin Herbert starts taking shots, the playbook shrinks, the offense stops hunting chunk plays, and everything turns into survival football. So put yourself in Ortiz's shoes. Do you pass on a tackle with legitimate starting experience, still under 30, with championship reps, just because he didn't have his best year? Or do you see a buy low chance to rebuild value in your system? This is another one that's going to split the fan base. Some people will look at Taylor and see a cast-off, and they won't want the risk. Others will see the exact kind of move winning teams make. Unsexy, practical, and designed to prevent disaster the second injuries start stacking up. Because not every signing is about getting a star. Some signings are about never getting desperate, like ending up scrambling for a 5th or 6th option late because the in-house depth wasn't good enough. And there's one more layer to it. The Chargers need to commit bigger resources to the interior. Bradley Bozeman retired. Center has to be addressed. Guard might have to be addressed. So bringing in a more affordable tackle option could fit into a wider plan instead of swallowing the budget whole. Because protecting Herbert isn't some bonus, it's the assignment, which brings us to the passing game. And this one isn't just about a stat line. It's about identity, trust, and how the front office sees the future. The Chargers' decision makers are still undecided on whether to exercise the 5th-year option for wide receiver Quentin Johnston, per ESPN's Dan Graziano. That option would cost $15,935,000 for the 2027 season. That's real money. That's a real commitment. And it forces a real question. Do the Chargers believe Johnston is becoming a core piece? Or are they still waiting for that final leap? Johnston did show growth in year 3. He finished with 51 catches for 735 yards and 8 touchdowns in 14 games. That's not a superstar takeover, but it's not a bust line either. It's solid production, and it points to him starting to find rhythm with Herbert, especially in the red zone, where small improvements turn into real points. Portis even praised him at his end-of-season press conference in January. He talked about Johnston's development from year 1 to year 3, and it's pretty clear he likes the player and the direction. The tricky part is the timing. The GM may wait until after the 2026 draft and the first wave of free agency before making the final call, and the deadline is May 1st. And I'll put it this way. This isn't only a money decision, it's a message. Picking up that option says, we believe, we're committing, we're building with you. Declining it says, we need to see more. There's risk on both sides. Pick it up now, and you might be paying about $16 million for a guy who's still a step away. Don't pick it up, and you're betting you can either replace that role or renegotiate later without the price jumping. This one is absolutely going to set the comments on fire. Some fans are already out of patience. Others are looking at the real improvement and saying, let him keep climbing. Either way, it's a high-stakes call, because it ties directly to how the Chargers want to build this offense around Herbert moving forward. And that takes us to the last domino, the one that could reshape the interior offensive line in one swing, if the Chargers are willing to pay for it. Ravens center Tyler Linderbaum is the biggest potential free agency domino along the interior offensive line. Baltimore GM Eric DeCosta said there's still work to do between both sides, and at the Combine he said, a market-setting offer has been made. The Ravens aren't using the transition tag on him, and according to Dan Graziano, the Chargers remain a threat to sign Linderbaum if he actually hits the open market. There's also been talk that other teams could outbid Baltimore with offers north of $20 million per year, and the feeling around the Combine was the Ravens may not want to go that high. That's the opening. And it comes with a price tag that can alter your entire roster plan. Jeremy Fowler floated $22.5 million per year as a sensible sweet spot for teams chasing Linderbaum. If that happens, it blows up the current top of the center market. Creed Humphrey became the highest paid center at $18 million per year. Linderbaum potentially topping that by nearly $5 million annually would be wild. Yet it also helps explain how DaCosta can say he offered market-setting money and still not have this done. Maybe Baltimore is willing to beat $18 million, but not cross $20. If Linderbaum's camp believes $20 plus is out there, waiting makes a lot of sense. For the Chargers, the logic is straightforward. Linderbaum is still one of the top centers in the league. He was 5th in PFF offensive grade last season. The pass protection efficiency dipped, 26 pressures allowed, 97.2 pass blocking efficiency. But the Ravens line as a whole had a down year. He turns 26 this offseason and has 3 Pro Bowls in 4 seasons. That's youth, resume, and stability at one of the most important communication spots on the field. And Joe Hortiz knows him. If Hortiz wants the center he helped draft in Baltimore, he's going to have to put real money on the table. A lot of it. It gets even tighter when you factor in what else is happening inside. Zion Johnson could have one of the strongest guard markets behind Linderbaum. Multiple insiders around the league have heard Johnson is preparing to break the bank. So the Chargers are staring at a reality where they might pursue Linderbaum while also monitoring the other 2 IOL spots. That's not a casual offseason. That's a chessboard. Sorry, let me rephrase that. It's a juggling act with expensive pieces. When you stack all 4 stories together, it really does come down to direction. Full-on aggression to maximize Herbert right now, or a more restrained build that keeps flexibility but accepts more risk in key areas. And I'm going to be direct about it. I'd go all in on protecting Herbert, and I'd keep at least one of the 2-star pass rushers, even if it forces creativity elsewhere. That's how you win big games. You pressure the other quarterback, and you keep your quarterback upright. With Quentin Johnston, I'd wait on the 5th-year option and let 2026 deliver the final answer. And with Linderbaum, I'd pay, but I'd pay with a line in the sand, because overpaying is part of free agency, but losing control of the roster plan is the real killer. Now I want to hear from you. Which choice defines 2026? Are you paying to keep Mack and Oweh together, or trusting the depth at edge? Are you taking the buy low swing on Jawan Taylor for tackle depth? Are you picking up QJ's option, or making him prove it one more year? And if Linderbaum hits the market, are you going record-setting? Drop your take in the comments, let's argue it out. And if you're with me, hit like, subscribe, and we'll keep this thing rolling for Bolt fam.